Live from New York, it's up to you really, with your host, Darling Demon Eclipse. Or sorry, I meant to say live from Patrick World. Uh, and musical guest. Anyone.
You're out of touch. I'm out of time, but you're
And
out
I'm
of my
out of your head when
head
you're
when you're
not
not
around.
around.
That's right.
You're yeah.
Uh, Welcome to It's Up to You really, an actual play, the first long form actual play of Aaron King's Patrick World. I'm Darling Demon Eclipse. Uh, let's go left to right. Bon, if you want to start.
I'm fine. I'm playing Seb.
Hell yeah. Audio War.
I am the Audiovore, and I will be playing Dog Detective, the popular children's story character who is here to solve mysteries and has gotten into some troubles.
And Jacqueline.
I'm Jacqueline, and I'm playing March September Ward. She likes mystery novels, and I'm realizing that she is kind of a fail woman, kind of like Kobeni or Bochi and such.
That
So
yeah, that's fair. Bon, do you have an opinion on this as a chainsaw head?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that comparison for sure.
Oh shit, I just
I'm like Power.
that
yeah,
makes
you're like
sense.
Power.
Yeah.
Dog
Uh
Detective is like Denji in that he's a dog.
yeah. So last time we met Mark September Ward's family in Saint Tarlina City. Um after some conversations with folks in there and conversation with Superb 87, Seb's kind of evil twin. Uh,
I think of him more as a dark echo.
yeah, you all managed to get out safe with the nuclear facility under March September Ward's house that has been there the whole time. Uh, Self deconstructing, and yeah, it's awesome. Uh, our friend, um, our friend Dog Detective said, "Hey, let's all go to my house in I think we have a name for that. Let me hopefully this is the map. Nope, that's a that's a that is a Soviet deprecated Soviet Arctic vehicle because it's up to you really. And if you don't expect that, then what show do you think you're coming for? Let me get that up. Um, yeah, in the little animal town, little I have a name for it.
I believe it was labeled on the map as Mystery Town.
Uh, Mysteryville, perhaps even.
Mysteryville, yes.
Yeah, let me get
Mm.
that so it's not in your way. Uh, Mysteryville. So I think that's where we'll open. Uh, we'll have a little get together in Mysteryville. I imagine, considering the vibes, considering everyone is kind of injured, this is not a boisterous. Uh, it is perhaps a big party, but it's not a boisterous party. Um, I imagine everyone is uh, kind of licking their wounds, having a nice meal, but maybe not singing and dancing and prowling around, especially considering the sky is still stark red and swimming with tendrils.
Yeah, there is that.
Seb is here. Seb, you just got done with some paperwork for uh the Department of Immediate Peril, kinda. It's mostly for Minas Divi, because like you obviously like Minas Divi is as suspicious of Lev as you are, considering the whole nuclear situation. Considering y'all learned that the nukes that were being built in Saint Tarlina City were being built for the Department of Immediate Peril, which is maybe not ideal. Um, Menace Divi is here. Seb's clone is here. Superb 87 is here. Um, I think maybe wearing a slightly different outfit to try and like hide that they also look like Seb. Uh, very like obscured, I think, in their outfit. Um, how does Seb feel about having their dark echo, their evil clone here?
When will they get back on my gun?
Is that something that you would ask them directly?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask them when they're gonna get back on my gun.
I think that question like kind of like almost sets them off, and then they kind of reel back, and they say, Seb, I want to be my own creature. I'm still figuring things out here.
But what happens if I mess up again and make another evil clone? Like, is that one going to be even eviler? Like, what's going to happen?
I mean, maybe your friends did a pretty good job of dealing with me, I think. Not that I'm not that I need to be dealt with, I guess. And besides, I'll be here to help you with them.
If you fire the gun and make an evil clone, do you think they'd be like me, or would they be like? What do you think they'd be like?
Oh, I ditched my gun. I didn't really want to carry it.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So, what the hell do you think the dip is gonna do about all this? And they gesture at the red sky above you.
Seb shrugs. Well, I killed Gouge, so this is something else.
Yeah, I guess so. Well,
I did my job, and that's someone else's job, right?
suppose so. It is impressive. And they kind of look at the sky again, like nod once, like not approvingly, but like uh acknowledging what this thing is. And I think they kind of walk off to enjoy the party. Um does anyone else, I guess we'll kind of just keep it open. Are there any conversations that folks want to have with folks who are here? Gunk is here. All of Dog Detective's family is here, including Firestar. Um. Bu- 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 Uh. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. I said that in promo Beast would be here. Jin sadly is under the weather, so uh, I don't know if this will be the last session. We're still kind of figuring that out. So I guess we'll kind of we're gonna play it by ear basically. But yeah, does anyone want to talk to anyone?
Yeah, was Tony Sender well enough to travel that he could make good on the invite, or
Yeah,
is
I
he
think
still on
Tony Sunder is here.
Yeah, I want to introduce Tony Sender to my dad, Tony the T-Rex.
Oh, good. um, I think that hey, I have a question about Dog Detective's family.
Yeah, what's up?
Are Dog Detective's family members named first name X, last name Detective?
I'm the ones that are detectives, yes. But
Okay,
others are like Tony T-Rex is Tony T-Rex, and then
right.
we have like uh you know other people are named for their professions or particular character traits or just
Gotcha.
but it's all in that sort of like charming children's book fashion, right?
Yeah, I like that. Okay, so I think that you introduce Tony T-Rex and Tony Sunder. Um,
I
this is gonna
figured they
be
get along because their names are both Tony.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't want to play their voices because it's gonna be the most straining thing possible.
Yeah, that's fine.
Swapping between, like, hey, I'm Tony Sunder. My kids are driving me crazy these days, and Tony T Rex, where it's like, well, let me tell you, I've actually. Does he also have a? I forget. What is his?
They,
I think
they
he has a
bas-
southern voice.
they have pretty similar voices.
Yeah. Well, either way, they get
Tony,
along.
Tony Center sounds more world weary for sure.
Yeah, it's Tony Sunder, and then you got like Tony T Rex, who's more like, "Hey, my boy, come here, come here." It's
Hey,
like more,
champ, hey sport, how are
"Hey,
you doing?
chap, hey, chap, how you doing?"
He
It's more
calls
the
people
dad.
champ. He loves to call people champ.
Champ,
Yeah,
buddy,
yeah,
yeah, for sure.
yeah. Absolutely got that kind of energy.
I think as you're moving away from your dad with Tony Sunder, he says, so you and your folks from Dip, you're not gonna bring me in, right? Because we're on that side of the fence, ain't we?
Tony, we've got way bigger problems to deal with, and honestly, I think you're a good guy, and you don't deserve any hassle. And I got no interest in bringing any grief your way. So
Well, thanks,
on,
buddy.
I've learned some pretty worrying things about the organization I work for, about my boss, who who I've historically respected pretty greatly, and I think there's going to be a sort of internal investigation, a little internal reckoning. So we're going to have to prioritize that, and then also prioritize, and just kind of looks up the other thing too.
Yeah, that sure is troubling. Don't much like it. It's a
Yeah.
bad sign, bad omen.
Yeah. I still kind of completely completely lost in what it even means.
Hmm. I don't much know the magic stuff. I just worried about me and mine, if I'm being honest. I guess you folks too. You seem like nice enough folks.
Like I said to you when on the way over, feel free to stay as long as you need. I know the hospitals in St. Terra City aren't the kindest places to rest.
Hmm.
And yeah, just you know, it's like it's like they say over at the folks at the Olive Orchard always say, when you're here, your family.
Yeah, they do say that, huh? Classic
Yeah.
line. Classic line, popular mystery. It's all here. Well, you take it easy, alright?
Too, pal.
And he kind of wanders off. Does March want to talk to anyone?
Is there any alcohol in Mysteryville?
Good question, dog detectives.
I would say no.
Marge is drinking a lot of Kool-Aid.
They got soda. They got like fizzy water. They got grape juice.
Yeah, Marge is drinking a lot of sugary drinks. Because she is nervous as hell. Because this is her first date she's been on in years. This is her first date as March. Um,
And it's at a family dinner at your friend's house.
yeah, exactly. And so I think she's just like nervously drinking Kool-Aid and like, oh, gunk. Yeah, this is I think also, and like half like trying to maintain like doing a good date, and half like, oh my gosh, like I remember you from this book, like to Dog Detective's family members.
Mhm. God, very good. Um, Gunk definitely notices that March is like drinking a bunch of water, and definitely makes some uh like v- very like mumbled joke about how, like, I'm like 90% water or whatever.
Oh, okay. Chokes on like, oh, I see. just completely. You know. Uh-huh.
I love the idea that you're here, and the only reason you're drinking so much like soda and Kool-Aid and water and stuff is because you have no idea what to do with your hands.
Yeah, I don't have a book
Right.
anymore. I don't think.
God.
So I'm just like, yeah, I have drinks. I have drinks I could do. And I I uh, yeah, this
Yeah.
is
I think it becomes clear that uh like Gunk definitely is like, I mean, maybe it doesn't become clear to March, but like others can probably see pretty clearly that like Gunk is interested in March, not in spite of her awkwardness, but like partially because she's awkward. uh
uh-huh.
and it's very cute. uh we love girls.
Everyone, not everyone. So many people love girls in this world, and it's
So true.
important.
uh Gunk definitely brought weed too.
Okay, well, we gotta chat down on some of that later.
Yeah, she probably finds like a treehouse at some point to like smoke in. Um, but yeah. So I think it's a nice dinner. Tony T Rex serves a a mean barbecue, some really delicious like spiced kebabs, and a full tray of of like different yams from like different dimensions and stuff that have been like cooked and seasoned to perfection, buttered. It's just delicious. Um,
But his specialty, the grilled eggplant.
yes, of course, the delicious aubergine. Um, and as the night is winding down, uh, there is a river that cuts through Mysteryville, and um I think the three of you, Seb, Dog Detective, and March, you hear a distinct and recognizable from anywhere uh kind of swishing of a massive tail in the water. Um Leviathan is coming to Mysteryville and is coming fast.
That's not okay.
No.
Hmm.
Unless he's going to tell us how much he regrets his past mistakes, like nuclear silos and making mantis mutants.
Right.
I hope Mantis is okay. Out in
Me
the world
too.
by themselves for the first time.
Uh, Detective?
Yep.
You're sure that like none of your family members have ever like built like nuclear bombs under your house or anything, right?
I guarantee you none of them other than me would know what those are.
Okay. Okay.
And I only barely understand it, like on a purely conceptual level.
Right. Well, that's good at least.
But I figure if he's gonna come here, I would like to meet him part way as to if anything happens to keep my folks away from the epicenter, as it were. Y'all want to come with, please?
Let's go.
Seb, are you else gonna come with?
Sure, I'll come with.
Cool. So you three, you know, I imagine not rush immediately so that you don't alert anyone that like something's up. Um, but you know, you head out.
Oh no,
Uh,
no. Dog Detective does his civil responsibility and says, "Hey, lets his parents know that something's up, and he's got to go out and deal with it.
okay,
And that it might get dangerous.
that's smart.
I
Yeah,
don't,
so
I don't want them being caught unawares.
yeah, that they're gonna kind of pack everything up and get inside. Um, I
Maybe
don't.
hunker down in the basement in the storm cellar.
Yeah, I don't think anyone else is gonna follow. Like, I don't even think that Superb 87 really wants to deal with us. I guess Ministivy would come with. Um, 'cause he's got some choice words.
Probably pretty salty about what they did, the deal they cut with his reflection.
Yeah, again, all mirrorized. But yeah, you four, you three, and Ministivy, arrive at this riverbank, kind of this point where the river curves into a series of tributaries that lead to like a lake, outward, and you see. Actually, I think it's like you're at the point where like the river hits the or like intersects uh the like stitching of the patchwork world. So it's like this like white these like white tendrils that like rise up for miles, um, made of like capital T capital F the flesh, the stuff that Braca and the moth are made out of. Um, and I think like in the distance you can see the city, you can see temporal lag, and the moth over it, seemingly like pointed to the sky, just like watching the sky. Um, the clock tower where Jan lives is kind of glows a sickly red in this moonlight. Not in this moonlight, but in the red light of the sky. Excuse me. And from the kind of uh red reflected water, this water that's like painted red by reflecting the sky. Um, you watch as Leviathan pierces the water, and previously, much like the water, um, you might have always assumed that like Leviathan's scales were silver because they were always in like a concrete tank, like maybe silvery blue. Um, but here it's clear that they just reflect what's around them, and what's around them is crimson. Uh, that their scales look like blood. Um, and the Leviathan Lev looks down at you four and says, "I heard word of what you did."
Okay. And
I am not pleased. The department is not pleased.
you say that like you think those two things are synonyms.
You left your posts, ignoring who knows how many additional cases. You turned the sky red through an extrajudicial killing of a parliamentarian.
Sad raises their hands. That's not on them. That's on me.
Hmm.
I did that. They didn't do that.
Well, you're included in this, and you disassembled valuable Department of Immediate Peril assets that might have been helpful in a situation like this.
That's on them.
The sky itself bleeds. What do we do about this?
Well, I know historically, when I've dealt with anything that was bleeding, uh, usually we'd be reaching for stuff like bandages instead of bombs.
Bandages. What bandage could seal this wound?
Well, that is a bit of a mystery. Luckily, I happen to be a specialist in those.
It's true, Lev, and Marsh opens up the journal that she's been taking notes in this whole season. And I have to say, I'm not so sure that you're looking out, that you really want to fix everything.
Hmm. Do you know what happened to the last person who said that?
No.
They became Black Star. I burned their childhood house to the ground.
Well, she writes another note, connects something. Ugh, I I think I'm starting to see a pattern with you, Lev. Um, I think maybe you're not very nice.
Is that right?
I think like you're not very nice, and the immediate peril that we're supposed to solve, it it feels like maybe you're causing more of it than you're fixing.
I think at this, without prompting, I think Ministivi like not takes it out, but definitely like reaches for his holster and says, Seb, Detective March, do we still want a Department of Immediate Peril?
I think March probably looks at Seb, honestly.
I mean, this is not the first time the Department of Immediate Peril's fallen apart, has it?
Based on history, not really. There have
So
been
what if it,
issues.
so it's not like it's going to be that big of a deal if it falls apart again.
Yeah.
We don't need that much bureaucracy to go out and help folks. It's nice to have accountability and keep records, and we should definitely keep on with that either way. But seems like it might be time for a clean start.
And at this point, with everything the department's done in secret, there's nothing, that baggage isn't going to help us help people.
I think that a trace of lightning rolls over Lev's eye, and they say, well, it's a shame that's not your decision. I will be requesting all 4 of your badges immediately.
March hands it over. I we don't need them anymore. If I probably doesn't hand it over, probably like puts it on the ground in front of her.
Hmm.
It's just like, oh, we don't need the badges. That's what we're saying. It's more important than that.
Yeah, so we'll give up their badge as well.
Yeah, so the dog detective does as well as that.
And
Okay.
Menstevia will follow.
I think you really need to work on your priorities.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't see how a lot of what you've been up to lines up with the department's mission statement.
I don't think you fully understand the danger of what you're looking at.
Probably not, no, but what a good old investigation's for.
Hmm. Well, best of luck with your continued investigation. If it gets in the way of the operations of the Department of Immediate Peril, you know what will happen. Keep an eye open.
Wait. I think the first person we need to talk to in our investigation is you.
Oh,
I
You definitely seem to know more than you ever care to share.
would you like to know about the program? I can certainly tell you.
I think that would be helpful.
The Ward Nuclear Program. A partnership started a few generations back between Ward Cosmetics and the Department of Immediate Peril. Facilities built mostly under the cloak of night. Loopholes, obscure naming conventions, hidden bits of paperwork, the sorts of things that would only appear if you did a deep audit. Trips for inspections that came down the line as vouchers for vacations. Even St. Terlinet's tax havens in some cases. Of course, this was before the patchwork. This was two dimensions working together. Unusual during that time. Special. Before the Department of Immediate Peril was all that remained of the Bureau's presence on the Patchwork world. When resources flew cheap and power flew cheaper. We built something magnificent. We built a weapon that, if anything ever threatened the infrastructure, the cohesion of the Bureau, it would be dealt with promptly. As simple as that. It was perfect. And it was ready. And yet you let a fascist convince you to destroy it.
Is that what you think happened down there?
It's what I've heard. Superb 87, you let them walk all over you.
There?
What? What do you think victory looks like?
Why do you think victory is a thing that's relevant?
Because they had a dragon when the Sable Skies was invaded by the Parliament. What do we have? Answer me that.
Who do you think is going to invade?
The sky is red with the power of our enemy. And you ask me who I think is going to invade? The war has already begun. The lines have been set. And you've chosen the enemy.
It seems like just another step in your plan, though, right? I mean, the moment you made these nuclear bombs, that's you saying, "Hey, We're ready for a war. Now the sky is red. That just sounds like another sign of, hey, we're ready. But nobody's actually starting this war. You're creating battles and that don't need to happen.
I think we should do a roll here. Let me check moves. Default moves. Trying to think here.
Oh, I should
Yeah.
I should say, before we start rolling dice and start probably taking stress, because I'm of my actively loving parents move. Everybody, since we spent time with them, I get to heal 1d6 stress, and everybody else gets to heal 1 stress.
Oh, hell yeah. 1d6
yeah.
stress is let's say.
Mine is currently at 0, so
Okay.
I have some hex because I got cursed, but
Mine's also at 0, but thank you.
I don't think this is 3 related. This might not be any of these. This might be stare into your eyes, not your own. If someone anyone who's been part of this conversation wants to roll that. I'd say either Jacqueline or Audiobore.
Mm-hmm. I guess I can do it.
Cool. Have you made yourself vulnerable?
I guess by coming here?
I'd say so. Do you know something important about them? I'd say a couple things.
Yeah.
I should probably be more on the nose about this. I implied earlier, I didn't say it out loud, but Leviathan killed Blackstar's sister. Like that was the implication of what I said. It's also kind of threading some stuff we haven't brought up in a while from File 1, but that is one thing that you know now about Leviathan. They burned down their house. Oh, that's a 5. So on a 6 or lower, ask 1, mark 1 stress, and the GM asks you 1.
Alright, let me mark that stress. Badoop. And ask 1. How could I get you to stand down from this?
Show Leviathan a blue sky. And I'm asking you, what do you intend to do?
I intend to try and exercise the ghost of authority. Even if no one's fighting, I'm going to try and fight back.
I think despite their best, quote unquote, best judgment, I think the Leviathan steps aside and rolls back into the water, their head only peeking out just a little bit, and they just say, we'll see what can be done. And then they turn around and leave.
This doesn't feel over.
you know, March, something I've learned is that nothing's ever over. Things just change. Now I got a couple ideas. I figure I'll pitch them to y'all. A couple angles we could take. Aside from helping folks where we find them, which obviously obviously they were going to continue to do that. I think that's just I don't think there's any debate about that. But you know, if he's right in his choice of metaphor that this guy is bleeding, is wounded, then I figure our best bet is to try and find some way to heal, patch it up, heal it, or heal it. You know?
Patch on the world, patch on the sky.
Why not?
Yeah.
A place to start might be the moth. I don't know if it can communicate in a way that we'd understand, but it's worth a try. What do you think, Seb?
Yeah. I, sorry, I dozed out a bit.
It's okay. They're talking about potentially going to see the moth about the red sky.
Yeah, we should go see the moth.
Cool. Do y'all want to go do that then? Or do you have
Definitely.
anything to any business to wrap up in Mysteryville before you go do that?
Let my
Um,
parents know I had to quit my job because it turns out my boss is my boss is a warmonger.
Boss is a child killer.
I guess Gunk has a connection there, so I guess I'd ask if Gunk wants to go with us.
Gunk would love to. I think Ministivi's actually going to stay back in Mysteryville. Um, he I think wants to rest. He's a young man, but he has old bones in a lot of ways, and an old soul. He has suffered a lot, and he wants to rest in a nice place if things keep getting worse. Yeah. I don't think it's explore the wilderness because you're going straight to a place that you know. So yeah, I think you all go back to for the first time since the beginning of this file, return to temporal lag. Um, there is uh the straight signs are alight. Um, people kind of keep looking at the sky, but it's overall pretty peaceful. Um, and you all, I imagine, just like get on one of the buses or trains and head over to the kind of tower at the center, where the moth has kind of made a little resting spot. Um, and I think it's like there's like this like wide, like you take like this elevator up, this like big like very like Art Deco modern tower in this like kind of grungy uh Soviet bloc city, and then there's like this like white disc platform that you like stand on underneath the moth, this like huge silk bound thing um that still somehow has Braga's eyes, that these like powerful eyes of like a warrior, but also a savior. Um and Yeah, you're just standing underneath this big creature.
You know, we did have a conversation before, but it's a lot more it's a lot more nerve wracking now that uh moth.
I think Gunk approaches March's side and offers her hand if she wants it.
Uh, she takes it.
The detective puts his head under March's other hand.
Pat, pat, pat. One of the most comforting things in the world is patting Dog Detective.
So true.
And he just kind of howdy there, moth. Uh, we're former agents of the Department of Immediate Peril, and now just sort of unaffiliated do-gooder types. And we're wondering if we're trying to look into if we can find some sort of solution to help heal what hurt the sky. and we figured maybe since you're so connected to the stitching that holds the world together, that maybe you'd be know something about it, or even just be able to point us in at someone who might.
Mhm. Um, I think you want to do a stare into eyes not your own here.
Sure.
I think that the moth does not respond verbally. Um,
Yeah, I don't expect it to be able to, but I'm hoping it understands me.
yeah. When you look into someone's eyes to discern their feelings, roll with the questions. Have you made yourself vulnerable?
I think just by physically being here in front of this immense, powerful creature, I am automatically physically vulnerable.
True. Do you know something important about them?
I'm not sure.
I think you know
I
what lives
know,
inside them. I think you
I
know the
know,
person within.
I know that one of their constituent parts is Braca,
Mhm.
and I know that Braca is like me, someone who was written into the world.
Yeah, I'd say that fits. That's +2.
And so I think there's a sort of a kinship there,
Yeah, a camaraderie, even.
and that we both sprung forth from someone's imagination.
Yeah, that is a 9. So on a 7 to 9, choose one of those.
Okay. I guess it's I guess the most important one to me at this time is, what do they intend to do, if anything?
Are we doing ask for ask? Because you have to pick one of the like frameworks first, and then you pick the questions.
Yeah, I'm looking at the what do you intend to do question.
Yeah, well, because it's like on a 10 plus,
Oh,
ask
oh,
two,
oh,
on a 7 to 9, choose, and then
oh
it's one of
yeah,
these two
yeah,
frameworks.
the one. Oh yeah. Okay, cool.
So one for one
Uh,
or two for one.
yeah, one for one, I think.
Okay. So what do you intend to do? The
Or
moth.
actually, you know what? I'll take the stress. I'll get two.
Okay,
I misread it. Yeah, I will ask two and mark stress.
cool.
Uh, and the two most important dog detectives questions dog detective could ever ask of anybody: what are you feeling, and what do you intend to do?
I think the moth is feeling sad and unsure. Uh, unsure if this is the role that it's supposed to play because this is not. This was never written. Um, and what does the moth intend to do? The moth is contemplating uh using its basically becoming part of the sky. Using what it is made out of to fix the wound. There's almost this sense that like there's so much power in being a thing that is written into this world and has a predetermined course, and then anything outside of that is not useless but hard, you know?
Yeah, I get that. Looking back on my life, a lot of it was decided for me by somebody else, and I had no way of knowing that. And it was a real challenge. Uh, when I a real challenge making my own decisions for the first time, operating without like a script or plan. And I didn't even know at first. I didn't even know that's what was happening. I just thought I was going through like a weird funk, because of the scariness of everything getting wrapped up together. And so I definitely get where you're coming from there. And I can't, I'm not. I guess you could look at it as a scary thing, or you could look at it as an opportunity to decide for yourself what kind of being you want to be, what kind of world you want for yourself. And I ain't going to tell you what to do. I ain't going to tell you what to decide. I'd never want to be put in a position like that where that was. Ooh, that's spooky and scary for sure. But like not having not having a script to follow, not having like a destiny anymore. That's not so bad. It's nice to just kind of be around, you know?
I think the moth kind of gives a little thrum of understanding that like almost like makes this like disc like shake as you all are standing on it. Um
And you you still get to ask me one, so
oh yeah. Um
yeah.
hmm. Will you love me if I am gone?
Yeah. And I'll love you if you hang around, and that's that's there's no conditions on that.
The moth
Part of you
nods.
part of you is still my friend Braca. And you're also a big, cool, powerful moth, and that's really cool. And I think you're pretty swell.
The moth gives a little nod. And I think the moth looks towards March.
Ah,
Um
hi.
and flaps its wings lightly. Um and their antennae like shiver a moment, and um I think a mm, I think like a story reverberates towards March that is not it's not anything that Jan Tonsi has written, but it is something that she would write. It's like maybe something that was inside of her that she never put out. Um, and it's somewhere between the thing that she does now and somewhere, so it's like between the thing that she like her mystery books and her like really dense like dream texts. And it's extravagant and weird and special and unique. Um,
Eh, I cry a little about it.
yeah. And Seb,
Yeah.
the moth. I think the moth wiggles their wiggles one of their arms, and this like dense cloud of white pollen falls off of it and
Mhm.
strikes Seb's the plants that kind of wreath Seb's body, and where the pollen lands, more and more flowers spread across Seb's coat. Um, and oh sorry,
Go ahead.
no you got
No, you go ahead. I
no,
was just
you got
I don't know what to say now
okay.
since you were going.
I didn't have something. I didn't have something that was before. Anyways, um, uh, the the moth looks up towards the sky, and tries. I have an idea here. Are there any moves here that'd be fun to make the moth roll? Like any like 2d6s? I feel like that could be interesting. We get some fun results. I don't know if any of these are that. Is there anything in the other book that Aaron sent me? Hang on, 1 second. Let me see. Where's that other book? Here we go. Here's my physical copy of World. Let's skim through this. We're gonna skim through this other book that Aaron sent me.
Fuck yeah.
One that immediately jumps out at me as like thematically related, if not necessarily mechanically appropriate, is Sin Eater.
What does Sin Eater do? Hang on, sorry, I'm away.
Yeah. So what that one does is when you eat someone's sins, tell everyone what it looks like and roll with the questions: did you get consent? And did you prepare a ritual space? On a 10+, their sin leaves them and is digested into nothingness through you. On a 7 to 9, the sinner is cleansed, but a stain is left in you. On a 6-, the sin becomes a major component of your personality and or motivation. Add or change a personal tag.
That's good. I do like Sin Eater.
And
maybe it's
considering
part
that
of
like,
this.
whatever this is like came from Gouge, right? So
Yeah, it is
feel-
thin.
it feels like it might be thematically appropriate at least.
Yeah. These are all really funny. I don't know if these would fit, but they are very funny. I highly recommend Iron King's Game Genie Apocalypse and reading the Apocalypse. They're both very funny. And have some fun moves. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna do Sin Eater. Okay. So I don't think the moth got consent, right?
Doesn't sound like it.
Hard to get consent to eat the sins of a dead woman.
Yeah. Did you prepare a ritual space? I'd say the Patchwork World is like a big ritual space. It's literally got ley lines.
Yeah. Which the moth is intimately connected with.
Yeah, so that's +1. This could have effects on. It's up to you, really. as a game, as a series of games. All right, get those dice nice and hot. It's +1.
Good luck, moth.
Okay, that's an 8. That's not terrible. On a 7 to 9, the sinner is clean, but a stain is left in you. So you all watch as the moth, as Brocca's moth, rises from the top of this tower and flaps its mighty wings and rises up into the sky. And its little arms and antennae strike apart these red tendrils as they try and lap at it. And it almost has a perfect run. It almost manages to kind of weave through these things perfectly. But just as it's about to enter this like vortex that you couldn't even see behind this like vortex of yellow lightning behind the sky itself, it is struck by a red tendril, but it is able to get inside. And the thing about this is that the flesh is not. I think you all come to understand this in looking at this. Perhaps anyone who's looking at the sky in this moment, who has a, an understanding of cosmology. The flesh is not just the thing that binds the Patchwork World, and it's not just the thing that Moth is made out of. It's not just the thing that Brocca is made out of. It is the like actual mycelium of the cosmos. It is the thing that creates the great mushroom of reality. and that material is the sky gains a consistency as that material for a moment, and then returns to its normal kind of darkish blue. But everywhere where the flesh remains, there is a red streak upon it. And it is ever so slightly uncomfortable to look at. This kind of eldritch flesh that is tinged with a scrap of gouge and of the Parliament. But the skies returned to blue. Let me fix that. And you all are just left here, wind blowing, the sky just like slowly returning to normal. And you see the lights of the city below you, more visible in this blue darkness. And now the kind of pinkish red, or almost pinkish white, of the seams of the patchwork world kind of stretching out almost seemingly forever. And yeah. So I guess I'll ask you all. We'll kind of just move forward from there.
Before we depart from that scene, I think Doug Detective just kind of looks around and just kind of says sadly to himself, "Well, friend, there's another thing we've got in common." As he kind of scratches at the angry red wound that Gouge left on him.
Oh.
That physically cannot be healed.
Yeah. Okay. I think that let's kind of do uh um yeah. I think that the days to come are oddly quiet. There are fires to be put out still, but they are not being put out by the Department of Immediate Peril. I think maybe most disappointing of all for the three of you is that Leviathan is gone. Like, you don't even get to rub it in Lev's face. They leave. They're not. They can't be found. And it leaves this sour taste in the mouth of temporal lag, where all this mess happened. You all cleaned it up, and I think people appreciate you for that. But there is a sense fundamentally that the Bureau came in, sucked the blood out of the city, and then left. And there is a great sadness too. I think especially among the members of the Cult of the Moth, the Parish of the Moth, that not even is Braca gone, but the Moth as well. Despite the fact that like even the sky itself is occasionally tinged with the white and red. What all are you up to in like the immediate days to come?
The detective is doing community organizing. We don't need no, department or whatever to help people in crisis, and he's trying to build a network of support and get as many people as he can collaborating on that.
Cool.
Is the bureau still around even after the bureau like disappeared? After the department disappeared?
The Bureau doesn't have power anymore. They're basically gone. They were in a lot of ways just a figurehead for, uh for like power, for old power. That they're pretty much I would say they're cast to the wind. That they're
I
still
mean,
definitely present.
I could picture Seth still working there at the bureau even if they're not powerful.
Well, wait, are you working for the Bureau or are you working for whatever is left over of the Department of Immediate Peril? Those are different things.
The Department of Medium Peril is part of the bureau, isn't it?
It was. The Bureau kind of dissolved when when the Icy City like went away, because like all those people were like, oh shit, we're part of this conspiracy, we should probably leave, and they kind of just like went to the Four Winds.
I guess like Seb's like part of the only thing that's keeping it up then.
Okay, so Sev is kind of the last guard of the Department of Immediate Peril, so I imagine there's kind of like a dual power thing going on with like Seb's remaining dip and Dog Detectives like community organizing on the ground, and kind of trying to build something good in temporal lag and beyond in the Patchwork world. What's March up to?
I think when she's not, I think when she's not helping Dog Detective, uh, with organizing and doing things, she's probably hanging out with the Parish of the Moth a lot more.
Hmm.
Um, it's been sad times over there, and uh, they kind of feels like a community, I guess, another little community to like immerse yourself in. Uh, and probably mostly just thinking about that story a lot too.
Yeah. Um, I do think that in terms of the parish, I think March probably gets the sense that there is a older and deeper story to their like culture and faith than they kind of let on. Um, a lot of their elders seem to imply that like they came here fleeing something else, and like their faith comes from a strong belief in the city, um, and I think that's where the Parish of the Moth kind of goes next. Is just like temporal lag is the moth, it is Braca, it is like it is the place where they feel whole and safe, and also that they live beneath her, and that she's like part of the world, part of everything, part of magic itself.
Oh, the moth went to the red sky. Like a moth to the flame.
Oh
Sorry, I just thought
yeah,
of that.
true, true.
Oh, hell yeah.
um I do think that there is an opportunity to see Jan if you'd like.
Uh, yeah. She'd probably take that. She'd probably go see her.
It's not a good one. uh
Oh,
it's I think the next time that March hears from Jan, she is being invited to Asparagus' funeral.
oh,
Uh
the crotchety old artist.
yeah, the reason I think why March has not heard from Jan for this file is because he has not been doing well. Um but despite that, I think Jan seems to be not, not in good strides, but like uh is definitely seeing the end of a long and dark winter in a lot of ways, and is like glad that her friend is finding peace. um would March bring up the story?
Mm. Yeah, probably. Maybe not that. Maybe like after maybe like a visiting at some point, like after the
Mm,
funeral, like bringing over some food.
yeah. Um, I think that Jan is like happy to hear that story again, even though I don't even know if she like asks how. Well, would March say how she knows about it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Uh, yeah. I think Jan is like not as. I think that like Jan has had such a hard season that like uh it's less scary to her and just nice. It's just a nice thing. Um, and I think she makes clear that March can come over anytime.
She probably does.
Nice. And then I guess I'll ask like a bigger picture than that. Where do you see your characters going? I I kind of want to say like 30 years for like within the next 30 years, because I think that I'll talk about that after this. Yeah. Where do you see your characters in like the next couple decades? Or even just next 10 years? I know that's not the. Do you want to take a break first, and then we can come back with those ideas?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
Yeah. Let's take. You want to take 10?
sure.
Yeah.
Cool. See y'all in 10. Be right back. Welcome back to It's Up to You, really. We're doing little epilogues. It's gonna be a little briefer because Bun sleepy. Uh, so yeah. I guess does anyone have funny answers or interesting answers for what your characters will be doing in like the next decade or even couple of years?
Hmm. Hmm.
You have some notions.
Notions.
I do.
Hit me.
Well, I don't know what specifically he would be getting up to. I do know that Dog Detective's two biggest priorities do not change, and that is to help people and to solve mysteries. So he is like active in community organizing both within Temporal Lag as well as outreach to other communities. Especially because like the vulnerable people in St. Terra Luna City need help. They need resources, and if so trying to organize some like ways to get them out of dangerous situations or get them the resources they need, things like that. Uh, as well as just like finding people's lost toys, finding searching for missing persons, just trying to use his investigative skills towards that primary aim of helping people out.
Hell yeah. Jacqueline, do you have a sense for March?
Yeah. I mean, eventually the time bomb goes off, and uh, Grandpa kicks the bucket.
Right, yeah, of course.
And she gets all the money, and is suddenly the head of the Ward family.
Yeah.
Um, but I I think she probably tries to hey, this is bad money. Um, and I think probably this is the sequence of events that leads to her grandma and her coming to terms and deciding that the way they can sort of fulfill this relationship is by not destroying the people of the Ward family, but by destroying the Ward family structure.
Hmm.
And uh, I I I think maybe they sort of watch. I'm imagining them watching a big pile of money burn or explode, which isn't how that's not how things work. But
It is awesome
like
though.
yeah, um, after using a sizable amount of it, probably to I don't know, donate to Dog Detectives causes and such.
Hell
Uh,
yeah.
and then I don't know, 30 years from now, she's like what, 57? Uh, and she starts a book club for for mystery books. She hasn't read them in a while, so
Fantastic. Um, cool. And then Bunna mentioned she's a little sleepy, so uh
Yeah.
I imagine Seb just does bureaucracy forever. That feels true to me.
Yeah,
Um,
probably.
yeah. I guess quick like NPC stuff. I think Ministivi, I don't know. I think Ministivi retires like at like 40 years old. I think
They have to
Ministivi's
reconcile
done.
with a reflection.
Uh God, I mean, yeah,
Is that even possible?
I think I think maybe his retirement is partially he's going on like a uh he's going on a very chill, laid back, swashbuckling, like sexy little adventure to go figure out if he can get that mirror version out of the mirror. Um, but he's not putting too much of his ministivacy into it. Um, uh, uh, probably also like always kind of watching his back for his dad because he's out there. Um, I think not necessarily an NPC, but my sense of Beast and Black Star is they just have a nice domestic life together. I think they both deserve it. Maybe we'll hear more about Beast some other time because I would like to bring Jin back on, and I don't know what character she'll play. Because scheduling. And also I had some start playing related anxiety about bringing people late into campaigns as we were starting up the second file, so it kind of messed with that because Jin couldn't make the first session. You hate to see it. What else? Leviathan gone. Probably not heard about for a while, and when they are heard from, it's like not very satisfying. They're a being who it is hard to get closure with. I imagine Gunk sticks around. Well, then maybe not. I don't know. Jacqueline, do you think Gunk sticks around?
Sticks around? Like in what sense?
Like is there for March?
I mean, I think they have a nice relationship for a few years. You know, maybe for a longer time. I think it's good while it lasts. But
Nice.
uh,
Very good. Cool. Does anyone have? I guess do any of you have questions about NPCs that I haven't mentioned?
Yeah, cause cause Kitty Cop after had quit being a cop and had become an intern at the Dip. So when the Dip dissolves, like, do they keep working with Seb for a while, or what do they get up to?
I think they probably come to work with Dog Detective. Because I think they want to rebuild that relationship.
One I'm curious about. Other ones I'm very curious about. Let me just pull up our little NPC.
Yeah,
list
little
here.
lore. I should really split up the lore stuff next time.
I want to know about. Please tell me what Delirious Heaven Fuck gets up to.
Oh well, I mean, y'all weren't really keeping track of Delirious Heaven Fuck's quest, but Delirious Heaven Fuck does get the Realm Crystal.
Oh, good.
Yeah, like I don't know why you thought they were pulling a 9 to 5. They're out trying to get the Realm Crystal, and they got it.
I'm so happy for it.
And
They
it's gonna
fulfilled their
wield some fucking powers.
Hell yeah.
Let me tell you.
Hell yeah.
Actually, I need to write that down now.
I'm also curious about Tony Sunder, how things work out for him and his family.
I think Tony Sunder decides that that the Sunder Lodge is not on the, like, he basically like petitions the city of St. Terraluna City to make his lodge not be on the St. Terraluna side. He stops doing gambling and it becomes an arcade and like pool bar.
Cool.
That's tied to temporal lag. It's very nice. Nice place to hang out.
Yeah.
Any other NPCs?
How many years does the Detective Kaname manga run for?
Well, okay, so there's the original run that's made by the original artist, and then his health starts to deteriorate, so his son takes it over. And his son does it for 4 years, but then his son, like, the ones that are made by his son, like, aren't as good, so he stops, and then there's, like, this, like, prodigy who, like, takes it back up, but his storyline doesn't continue off of the son's storyline, it continues off of the original work, and then the original guy recovers, so him and the prodigy work on it for, like, 4 or 5 years, and then the story wraps up.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I
it's
wasn't.
actually a pretty positive. It's a pretty like optimistic manga arc.
You know, I'm happy with that. That's all the questions I ever need to have.
Hell yeah. Um, any others? Anyone in the chat want to know about NPCs? If you remember any. We're taking stuff from the chat too. Uh, otherwise, the Papel Gourmand does well. Beast continues to grow it into a even more respectable dining establishment. What we got? Anyone else?
Does anybody ever see All Night, the ice dragon again? Does it around?
All Night does kind of wrap back around and say hi. And I think All Night helps some of the like hotter worlds get better AC. Like magical AC. Oh, the World Breaker, the big horse that destroyed all the worlds. I think they're not accounted for. Like at least in the Bureau. Actually, I don't know if this keeps being called the Bureau. I think the Patchwork World's just called the Patchwork World, and it's like its own thing. It's like it goes Patchwork World Potentate. What's the top? It has an insane name that doesn't mean anything.
Subvern?
Subvern,
Subvern, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Tiarma. The old sauce cave. Zaparb 87, I think, manages to kind of wind down. Maybe go on some like space adventures out in the other dimensions. Yeah. Fuck it. I'll call some shots. I'm gonna tease it's up to codename. It's up to you really 3. Really
Yeah.
quick.
World premiere.
World premiere. So as all of this is happening, as the last days of the Department of Immediate Peril are going on, Minas Sai, Minas Divi's father, this terrifying wizard king, god of psionics, god of psychic power, flies this like huge cruiser made of like marble and like chunks of giant statues like just jammed together. Behind them is an army of people who look almost exactly like Minas Divi, except they're wearing like white armor and like white helmets. These are Minas-sized children who look basically like him, except he is an older gentleman. And we see sort of the crest of light over 3 planets as he looks over, and he turns and says, "Well, my children, you have your orders. I intend to rest. Let me know when you've wrung blood from the stone." And then he leaves the bridge of the ship. And that's where we'll wrap. Thank y'all for watching. And thank Bun, Audiovore, Jacqueline, and Jin for an amazing It's Up to You Early Files. This was really fun, as much as it was a bit of a jumble because we had some scheduling stuff. But it was really fun.
Yeah.
And I love to play a game. And thank you, Aaron King, for being super generous and participatory and like sending me books and stuff for Patchwork World and these 2 other books that were really cool to read through. That's some like pop culture PBTA moves. And yeah, just generally thank everyone. And do y'all want to say goodbye and give your plugs really quick? Let's go right to left. Jacqueline.
Yeah, I'll say goodbye. I've been Jacqueline Swampert. You can find me on Tumblr at Swampert. I'm gonna plug my podcast, Unwise Girls. You can listen to it every Friday. It's about the Rick Riordan books of myth and legend. And also go check out Dead Teen House Party, a different podcast I did. We covered all the Scream MTV series, and it was a riot. And yeah.
Hell yeah. Audiovore.
Yeah, you can. I'm still hanging out on Twitter while it still exists, as at Dwarven Anarchy. I stream rarely on twitch.tv/theaudiovore, and I recently just started I just made a Tumblr account recently. I'm trying to figure out how that all works, and you can find me on there as the Audiovore. And big thanks to Eclipse. I've been part of this show from the beginning, and I'm always so happy. I'm so like proud of the work of the storytelling that we get to do here together.
Me too. Hell yeah. Uh, and Bun, do you have anything to plug?
Watch Eclipse some more. Watch your streams more. She's doing a Dragon Age series.
Hey, and be nice to Bun, and send her Christmas presents, please. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's Christmas today.
Not, not today. Not for 3 days.
It's Christmas today and tomorrow and the day after, and
I'm gonna plug
Yeah,
stuff.
it's Christmas.
I'm gonna plug stuff on my own channel of my own stuff. Check out Sapphic World. It's good. It's a good
Oh,
RPG, I think.
it's so good. Also, I forgot to say in my thing, but this was so good. I enjoyed it so much.
Hell yeah. Good times. Okay. Well, good night. Let's raid someone. Bun is so silly, Billy.
That's so true.
And also check out Patchwork World. Check out Patchwork World 6th edition.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to play a lot more games next. It's up to you, really. I have a lot of games in mind. If people have seen me tweeting about it, I have ideas.
yeah, huge thanks to Aaron King for the work on making the game that we played. It's a great one.
Yeah, and also the funny dog picture, the dog tech to popular mystery meme,
Yes,
which is
that's
so funny.
absolutely Dog Detective fan art that we got on the first episode was so great.
We're gonna be playing, not raiding. We're gonna be raiding, not playing. Carbumble. Caro is currently playing, not Hulk Smash, but Bulk Slash. So go watch that. Good night, everyone.
Good night.